Welcome to Ask the Stuttering Foundation. In this episode, we're going to talk about preschoolers who begin to stutter. We often hear from parents of preschoolers who have begun to stutter. In one recent post, a mother wrote, "My son is 2.5 years old, started preschool a month ago for the first time. I noticed him stuttering some the first week, but it wasn't often. In this last week especially, the stuttering has gotten to be very frequent. He's frustrated, and he now tries to avoid saying what he's struggling with. He had no speech issues before this. Will the stuttering go away?" So we notice from this inquiry that the mother is both concerned and a really helpful observer about her son's development in stuttering. Let's look a little bit more closely at a few of the points that she raises. First, Thomas, not his real name, he's been stuttering about a month, and it's gotten worse during the first month of preschool. So Thomas's stuttering has started very recently and happened just as he started school for the first time. We all know that change, whether it's positive, negative, or both, is challenging for all of us. It can affect a lot of things like our sleeping, our eating, our moods, our concentration, just to name a few. And we know that young children like Thomas are also rapidly learning, growing, and developing speech and language and social and so many other skills. We also know he is in a new setting, new adults, other kids, new schedules. So we can share with the mother that stuttering often begins in young children when they face changes and challenges. And for Thomas, it started and has gotten worse as he adjusts to preschool. A second issue, and a question that we commonly receive from parents of preschoolers who stutter, is will Thomas always stutter, or will it go away? To answer this, we can use what we know about risk factors for continued stuttering. So Thomas has been stuttering for a very short time only, a month. This is encouraging, yet we don't know how long it will last. His young age at onset, 2.5, tends to be more typical of children who will recover. We know that boys tend to have more delays and disorders during development, and that includes stuttering. The mom tells us that Thomas's stuttering has worsened. However, we don't yet know if it has reached its peak. Once stuttering peaks, it often decreases and for many children goes away. But sometimes the stuttering peaks, decreases, levels off, and then continues. We also know from the mom that Thomas had no communication concerns before stuttering began. While we will want to learn more about this, it does suggest that Thomas's speech and language skills are likely age appropriate. Importantly, we'll also want to learn about any family history of stuttering, because that tends to be a particularly important risk factor. By learning more about Thomas and tracking his stuttering over time, we will know more. However, it's important to say that even after we have looked carefully at all the risk factors, we are never able to say for certain whether a child's stuttering will go away or not. We can, however, provide lots of ways to help now and in the future, whether Thomas continues to stutter or not. A third point the mother raises is that Thomas is frustrated with his stuttering and he's avoiding talking at times. Well, we know that Thomas is a good talker and he has a lot he wants to tell his family, his friends, and his teachers. Right now, however, especially when he has something he really wants to share. He is struggling to get it out. He's getting frustrated and noticing that he can't get the words out, so he's deciding not to say them. When this happens, his message may become unclear or confusing, or he may not share his messages at all. So as a result, communication breaks down, and Thomas and his listeners may be frustrated, confused, or uncertain about what to do or how to help. It is very common for parents and other adults not to know what to do or say when their children are reacting to stuttering. And it's very common for parents to decide to try to ignore the stuttering. However, not doing or saying anything when a child is struggling to speak may confuse the child, and it certainly doesn't provide Thomas with any explanation or any help with his talking. So instead, just as we react naturally and normally to a child's skinned knee, we don't ignore it and we don't make a huge deal about it. We can talk with children who stutter about stuttering, about talking. Sometimes saying something like, "Gosh, sometimes your words are really hard to say, aren't they?" in a matter-of-fact way lets the child know that you care and that you did notice. Well, there's much more that we could say about Thomas's stuttering and how to help him. At this point, we will follow up with his mother to learn more, answer any additional questions she might have, and help her decide whether to schedule a brief screening, a full assessment, or just check in with her in the future. And until then, we will share lots of resources from the Stuttering Foundation about the development of stuttering in young children and how best to help Thomas at home and at preschool. Please join us again soon for Ask the Stuttering Foundation.